Hey everybody, welcome back to Ice Cave Radio. Doa and CHARM3R here, and it's good to be back because we have some extremely exciting stuff to talk about today. No cave pool. We'll get back to that later. But I have been working hard to create a new game mode for Star Wars Unlimited that we're going to be talking about today. I'll give you a teaser. It's called Trash Compactor. But CHARM3R's been helping me test it. Some local friends have been helping me test it. And I think it's in a place where I finally want to put it out there. And we'll talk about that a lot more in the future. But not only that, CHARM3R, we have a ton, our first kind of big drop of Set 6 Secrets of Power spoilers to talk about as well. So a lot of exciting stuff. First of all, though, let's catch up a little bit. Have you been playing much Star Wars Unlimited lately? Have you gotten out to locals and things? What have you been playing? What's your gaming life been looking like in the SWU world?
Well, my gaming life just in general, whether it's SWU or other games, has been pretty meager. I have been swallowed up by my day job a ton, and it has unfortunately caused me to miss some local events that I really wanted to attend. There is a really cool local event, so if you're in the Michigan area, you can look it up. It's the Michigan GT. There's going to be a number of different games, not just Star Wars Unlimited. There's tabletop games, other card games, etc. But there's going to be a 1K Star Wars event for that. And there's also going to be, I believe, like a showcase tournament where there's going to be a bunch of showcases for prizes.
Cool.
So
That's awesome.
I'm trying to prep for that. And what I've been playing lately, I still think Talzine is outstanding, and I'm surprised that it's not getting more representation. It's really weird that a deck wins Worlds and then kind of becomes less popular, it feels like, after the fact, but it's certainly the vibe I get in testing. And then I've also got a double blue Thrawn deck that might have some legs. I also really like Yellow Thrawn. I think that the Legacy Run combo is pretty nifty. I think there's some other really interesting things you can do there. But I've been just really on like double blue Thrawn with a lot of the essentially the when defeated draw effects, right? So there's the landing shuttle, obviously there is the 2-drop Night Sister, etc. And it's a great way to kind of counteract a lot of the hand disruption stuff because your hand is just pretty much always full when you're getting to draw 2 or 3 cards off of those things. And depending on your matchups, there's some neat stuff that you can do as well, where if you like no glory somebody's K2SO, it's just absolutely bananas. So that's what I've been playing the most is Talzine, just because I think that's like my comfort list, at least right now. But this Thrawn list that I've been playing, I feel really good about, and I want to give it a real tournament thing. I just don't know if that's what I want to lock in for this GT event coming up.
I hear you. Well, I mean, speaking of off-meta stuff we've been believing in, I've been grinding on the Kit Fisto Blue, and I top 4'd our store showdown with it. And our store showdowns are no joke. We've got a lot of really good players, a lot of like top 32, top 16 PQ players. And we had about 30 people at this one. But yeah, I was able to top 4. I played like all medalists, and the only one I lost to in Swiss was Iden, and that's just because like you just run out of time. You know, every time I play Iden, I just run out of time with that because it's a control deck. You know, I can like hang, but I just can't. I have to get lucky in that I need to put enough pressure early on Iden, otherwise it just goes on forever, right? So yeah, that's the only one I lost. And then in the semifinals, I lost to a Kazuda Blue. Oh, no, Kazuda Red, actually. Kazuda Tarkentown. I made a really boneheaded mistake in one of the games. Then the other one, I just got run over and just drew kind of slow. So that's a deck where, like, you really need to, you know, have everything kind of like show up when you need it to. I still believe the Kit Fisto Blue list is good into it. It's just, you know, if you draw poorly, you just lose, right? You don't have any recovery time. Thankfully, that deck doesn't often draw poorly, but it does have it happen every once in a while. But it's also the kind of deck, too, where, like, you mess up once and they just run you over as well. So it's, I would say it's still a good, like, 50-50 matchup. I wouldn't say it's favored either way, but it's on the more unforgiving side. So I felt like I could have won that one, but it was also a tough one. So, and the person that beat me ended up winning the whole thing. So that makes you feel a little bit better too when that happens. But that's the second time now I've been able to take an off meta list to a top 4 of that big showdown. It was a Wat Tambor double green in set 3, and then now Kit Fisto blue, which I'm telling you, it is a legit list. It is not easy to play, but it is really good. And I feel like it adds game into absolutely everything. Even Iden, you feel like you have a chance, which is maybe Iden's thing. She makes you feel like you have a chance. But like, I think you legitimately do. I have beaten Idens in local nights and things like that too, like straight up. But that's definitely the hardest matchup. Either way, go try it. It's on our Discord. Go find it. But now that it's kind of run its course, I'm kind of looking for something new to play, and I don't know what I'm gonna play. I don't have anything big coming up soon, so it's kind of all just off meta local jank testing. I've been working on an extremely silly Admiral Trench aggression list that I will talk about later once it's more developed. But it is the dumbest deck that has ever been created in SWU. So look forward to that in the future. More fun to talk about. But yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Other things that I've been doing is I've been waiting to open these.
Oh yeah, that's right. You still haven't. I don't know how you had the willpower to not open these. I opened mine at the event. At least we got it on camera.
I know you did. So the answer is I don't have the willpower any longer. So I'm just gonna open these while we continue to talk here.
Mm-hmm. What do we got? Hey, all right, that's a good one. Obi-Wan's a good one.
And
okay,
Quinlan.
Nice Quinlan.
Okay.
I like the Quinlan Asajj combo and a lot of stuff. And what's the final one? Oh, is it only 2?
Yeah, it's only 2.
Oh, okay, I can remember. We did not get a lot of those as casters, so
No.
Yeah. All right, number 2.
I don't even remember what the hits were.
From what I've heard, Grand Inquisitor is one of the big ones because he just seems to show up less often. There's one of your favorites.
That one.
Yeah, there's Ezra.
That one's gonna go in my twin sons list. So that is an Ezra.
Vader's obviously the biggest hit though. Oh, and there's a Ahsoka Tano. Okay, all right, sure.
And an Ahsoka.
Yeah. Well, the Ezra's I would say the Obi-Wan is my favorite out of the ones you opened, and the Ezra is probably your favorite, just for cards you like to use.
Yeah, I do love the Obi-Wan though.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan's really good.
It's also, as we talk about, granted, it's not the Kit Fisto blue, but it's something that I run when I do play Kit Fisto green, just because, it's a good quality 3/5.
The Obi-Wan?
Jedi.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's well worth running in green for sure. I'd say he's like a staple of the deck.
Yeah, him and Gungi.
Yeah. Versus blue, you're just kind of running removal and stuff like that. You don't even run I don't even run Chirrut, but he's not a Jedi, so he doesn't really help me out there anyway. Yeah. But, well, I'd say pretty good hits from and I mean the thing is all those cards look great anyway, so it's certainly going to be some good trading fodder. I managed to trade a Snoke for some good stuff that I pulled, and then I traded, I forget what it was. It was a card I didn't use as much, but I was able to get 2 invisible hands for my Wat Tambor list, because now that Wat Tambor list is kind of I don't think I can really take it too much farther. Now the goal is to just kind of bling it out as much as possible before whatever Eternal Legends format or whatever hits, where I'll be playing it eternally. Wat Tambor, Techno Union, represent forever. Are you ready to talk about the new format?
I, of course, am ready.
All right. I have a couple
about the format that you named after me, by the way.
Trash Compactor?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, it's actually a legally distinct version of saying Garbage Masher, because that's what they're actually called in the movie. Everyone calls it the Trash Compactor, right? Colloquially, but it's almost like a Mandela effect thing, because in the movie they say Garbage Masher. So I wanted to make sure I named it something that was not a direct, pull from Star Wars for, of course, just covering all my bases there. But it uses this. What in the world is this? It's a new token. It's a wall. That's right. It's a Trash Compactor wall token. And so the format of Trash Compactor is revolved around not getting smashed by the 2 wall tokens that will be ever encroaching onto your leader area. If they move onto your leader base area, you are smashed by the trash compactor. So how does this work? In that, you can kind of put your units wherever you want, willy-nilly, right, Charmer, on the arenas? Well, not anymore, because now we have dedicated unit slots on the board. And so let me explain what you're looking at here. This is the initial game setup board for the trash compactor format. I will say too that this is a format that is designed to be used with any deck in Star Wars Unlimited. Even Twin Suns lists. You could even play 2 Twin Suns decks against each other in Trash Compactor. I wanted to make a format that didn't require any new additional deck building mandates, right? If you want to build a deck specifically for Trash Compactor, that's fine. But I wanted this to be a format where like any 2 players anywhere can be like, hey, you want to play a game of Trash Compactor? And they can just kind of do it. You don't need to bring anything extra except, needing to have the dice. But honestly, the dice aren't even necessary once you kind of know the rules and you know where the cards and the slots are supposed to be. They're more just kind of reminder placeholders than anything. So let me explain what we're seeing here. What we're seeing is there's the top row for each player of 4 unit slots, right? That is the only place where you can play units. You can play those units in any of the slots in any order, but they must go in the slots. Now you notice in the slot closest to the base area, there's 1 extra one. That's so that if the walls have gone all the way that far, you at least have 1 last-ditch effort space to play a unit to try to get yourself out of the inevitable crushing, right? So now to talk about the wall cards themselves, the wall tokens themselves, you can see each player starts with 1 on each side of the space arena and the ground arena. In the regroup phase, at the beginning of the regroup phase, they will move in 1 slot. And they will keep doing that until someone is dead or you just win the game normally. Those are your 2 win conditions. Either your opponent is crushed or you just beat them normally by, doing enough damage to their base. Now, the pips on the dice are important because that shows how much damage is required to move the walls back 1 space. So in the course of a phase, a player can do things to move their wall tokens back 1 space, 1 slot, I should say. They are connected to each other. So if a space arena unit attacks the wall token in space, it will also simultaneously move back the token in the ground arena. And that's so that we're not punishing anyone for playing a heavy ground or heavy space deck. The walls will move simultaneously. You can't attack your opponent's walls. Sentinel doesn't block you from attacking your own walls because the Sentinel unit is on their side of the board. So you can always attack your walls. Your walls can be targeted by anything that can target a unit specifically. So, for example, you can use Luke Skywalker's leader ability to do 1 damage to the wall and push it back. And here's where it gets interesting, right?
You mean Vader, right?
No, the Luke Skywalker pilot unit.
Oh, the pilot.
Yeah,
yeah.
As we see demonstrated on the screen right now.
Yeah, sorry, I was still thinking of that day that we were doing the testing, and same thing was happening with Vader.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can do it with Vader too.
See the Luke on your side.
There's a lot of units that any unit that you can choose to do a damage to a unit with, you can target the wall tokens. Now, to make sure that leaders that can do that aren't just overpowered and can just push back the walls every single turn, we've made it so that the first 2 slots require 2 damage to push back. And so that makes sure that the leaders that can do that ping damage are still feeling the pressure as the game mode is intended. Whereas when the walls get closer, yeah, sure, then you get a little reward for playing a ping leader. You can use the Luke to push it back if it's in spot 1 or 2, right? But that's kind of the idea there. Now, obviously, Kit Fisto is kind of unique in that if you've attacked with a Jedi, you can do 2 damage to a wall on the outside too. But there's that extra requirement, right? And there's that extra cost associated with it. I didn't want the free ping leaders getting too much of a benefit here. So it's important to note that units like Cad Bane can't push their walls back with the leader ability because it specifically asks your opponent to choose one of their units, your wall tokens are not on their side of the board, so he can't affect it. Mother Talzin can't, give a wall -1/-1. The walls are not ground or space units themselves, so things like Fallen Lightsaber can't target it because it says only ground units specifically on that card. And I will say there's a comprehensive rules document that I'm releasing with this that has all of these details too, but I'm trying to just go over as much of it as I can here. What's my next slide? Let's see. Oh, here's an example. So over the course of a game, you're going to have, the walls be pushed, the walls move in, blah, blah, blah. So it's totally possible for the wall tokens to be in different slots on different players' sides of the board. You can see our Luke 4 player, the slots, slot 3 is occupied, whereas our Kit Fistos player, it's slot 2. So the pressure is coming, right? And again, in the regroup phase, if the wall tokens would move off of slot 1 onto your base, you're just dead, right? Now, what was it? There was another thing I was going to remember. Oh, yeah. You also have two new epic actions you can use. One is called Scompack, and actually, I think what I'm going to do here is I will bring up the image guide. There we go. Here is a little bit more on the game itself. I'll make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. Actually, let's not use that. Let's use. I'm so prepared, by the way. Let's use.
I was just gonna say cover our faces.
Yeah.
Let's give the people that are watching a break.
All right. No, it's okay. All right. So here's the comprehensive rules. So let's go down to. You can see I've got all the details with the different tokens and things. You have two unique epic actions. One is called Brace. And of course, these are things you can do once per game, because the thing is your opponent's going to be destroying units. You're going to be fighting unit to unit. All the same stuff that always happens in a game of Star Wars Unlimited is going to be happening in Trash Compactor as well. And so I wanted to provide a couple get out of jail free cards, as it were. A couple chances for a player to just get back into it if things weren't going well initially, So we've got Brace. Epic action, attack with a unit even if it's exhausted. It may attack only the wall token for this attack. Move your wall tokens back 2 spaces instead of the usual 1. Then do 2 damage to the unit. So there is a little bit of a penalty, but it lets you, play a unit that comes in exhausted, as they all do, and still push back a wall if you need to for some last-ditch sort of breathing room. Try to get back into the game. The second epic action is called Scompack. Move your wall tokens back 2 spaces. Just a free move it back 2. Everybody gets 1 of those per game. And so with these in testing, it's been really good, because managing these 2 epic actions has been a really interesting thing to watch players do, because one of them requires a unit, obviously. The other one you just get for free. If you use them too early, then you might regret it later on. But if you don't, use it soon enough, then you might find yourself in a bit of a squeeze. Pun absolutely intended. So using your epic actions is wise. Knowing when to use your units to attack the wall tokens is a big piece of this game. It's the main piece of this game, obviously. And then making sure you can try to sabotage your opponent's efforts too when they're trying to move the walls back. Now, the big thing with the walls that I probably should have mentioned earlier, but if the wall tokens at the beginning of the regroup phase, when they move automatically, if they would move into a space occupied by a unit, that unit is defeated immediately. And you defeat it in the same way you would defeat a unit if you were playing another unique unit of the same name or something like that. It's just taken out. Anyone defeateds that activate are played. Now, that's a scary thing, but hey, maybe I want to put my Super Laser Technician in one of the far slots early on, so it automatically dies in the regroup phase. You can do some tricks with that too. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you want your units to get crushed by the Trash Compactor, right? But that is the one thing to watch out for, is when the tokens move in, anything in the slot they move into is just dead. And of course, if the wall tokens would move off of the final slot and onto the player's base, that player loses the game. So there you go. That's the gist of it. That's the basics of it. And I'll be releasing this document that you see on your screen right now, as well as the basic image guide and the wall token image that I've created for the use of this. You can just print and play if you want to do that. Otherwise, you can just take any 2 face down Star Wars Unlimited cards and use those as your wall tokens, or use whatever you want, right? Same for the epic actions. I recommend just doing a couple face down tokens from something else on your base card at the beginning of the game, just so you know you have them, and then when you use one, you take one off, right? So again, I really, really wanted this to be a game mode that just like anybody can play at any time, that you can just be like, hey, let's play some Trash Compactor, right? And there's a wall token. With I don't know if I should be proud of this or not, but I drew the art for the wall tokens, so I'm a little bit proud of that.
You should be proud.
I'll have to make a hyperspace version later or something. That's going to be a little bit trickier to Photoshop though, but I'll work on it. But yeah, there it is. What's that?
I said, I'm not going to lie. That would be kind of terrifying if a wall was coming at me at hyperspace speed, like
Yeah,
just super wall.
that would be extremely challenging. Hyperspace walls. Yikes, that's a whole new level of hyperspace RAM. But yeah, I'm going to create a special Discord channel for it for people to talk about the game, talk about results. This is going to be what I would call a living format, in that I will be taking people's feedback and updating the rules over time. I've put in about a month of testing with games with you, with other friends and things like that, and I feel like it's in a pretty good spot right now. It's fun. It's really fun to play. It's the tension of the walls coming in is more than you would expect. Like the first turn it moves in, you're like, whatever, it's moving in. Then the second turn it moves in, and if you haven't pushed it back yet, then that means at the end of that turn it's going to move into spot 2, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like lose units now. I'm running out of places to play things. Like I got to do something about this, and you feel the tension just start to rise. So I like it. It's meant to be a casual format. Like I said, if people want to make a deck specifically for this, they can, but you should just be able to play it with any existing Star Wars Unlimited deck. Obviously, the ones that I think will have the hardest time will be the heavy control list, because you just don't play a lot of units. But if you're just always killing your opponent's units, then how do they push the wall back? So I guess it's technically okay. But I want you guys to play some games. Let me know what you think of the format. I want to hear your feedback, and over time we're going to be working on it and improving it, and just kind of making it more fun. I've never made a game mode for a game before. I love this game a lot. I want to do something fun, and so hopefully you all enjoy it too. What do you have to say about the Trash Compactor format, Charmer, as being one of my early beta testers for it?
So I will say that one of the things that jumps out to me specifically about the game mode is how well it uses the kind of base mechanics of Star Wars Unlimited, because the action economy, right, the back and forth just in a standard game of Star Wars is already one of the things that builds tension when you play the game, right? And so with this, you are now introducing the element of like, yes, the walls are closing in, but it's also, again, what do I spend my actions on, right? Do I want to put the damage on base? Do I want to clean up a unit? Do I want to push the walls back before my opponent takes out my unit I was going to use to do that? Same thing with the epic actions. Yes, you get the two kind of freebies, but you also still have to spend your action doing it, right? So the natural rules of the game, I think, fit so well into something like this, where you're just adding another strategic element into it. And even though it, again, just like all things, right, it looks really simple, but then when you actually get to play with it, it has a lot of interactability, and I think it's really fun.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. I've recorded some test games over the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to find some good ones to upload to the channel too, so people can kind of see a little bit of it in action. But if you want to record your own games too, send them our way. If they're fun and exciting, maybe we'll put them up on the channel too, or do some casting over it or something like that, So definitely just, go out, try it. Let us know. I'm basically going to make I think a zip folder that has the token art, the comprehensive rules doc, and then the quick image guide. And then people can download that and get an easy start with it. So hope you enjoy. Yeah. So that is the Trash Compactor format. Now, Charmer, it's time to talk about Secrets of Power. Set 6 of Star Wars Unlimited. We're already at set 6. Is that kind of crazy, actually?
It is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that we're at set 6, and that after set 6, we get, of course, set 7, but then we start our first post-rotation format.
Yeah. I mean,
it's on the horizon.
It's going to be set 4 through 7 is going to be our first post-rotation format. So that is going to be interesting. And I think it's something to kind of keep in mind when we're seeing all the cards being revealed for this set. And then also, set 7, whenever we get to that in the future, next spring, I guess, or whatever. Because we're going to be thinking about things in the context of, we're going to lose sets 1 through 3 in Premiere, So a lot of cards that people have relied on are going to go away. There's going to be no more Millennium Falcon piece of junk, which is tragic, but we're going to have to do without. But let's take a look at our spoilers, because like I said, there was a big drop, and let's start with Palpatine. Now, some of these, I just went ahead and I pulled everything that's been revealed so far. So some of these were already revealed back at the Star Wars Unlimited Galactic Championship, but I just wanted to have a little chat about them again and just kind of go over that. So we're going to start with the Palpatine leader. We've talked about this a little bit. I've just got his unit side here, but basically he just lets you do cheap plot stuff, which I think is good.
Yeah.
It's cool that we've got our basic plot leader right off the bat.
Yeah, it's really interesting for me just because it's a 7 cost leader, which normally in Star Wars Unlimited feels very late, obviously, unless you're trying to set up combos. We've seen that with Kylo setting up the combos.
Mm-hmm.
I am very interested to see as we get more reveals what kind of plot combos we get, because this does essentially give you, it's just 1 turn, mind you, but it gives you essentially like 3 extra resources. So if we equate that to other games, right, there's been cards like, Dark Ritual, where it's like, oh, look, 3 extra resources is a big deal. Now, granted, that's usually when it's available in the beginning of the game, but this, I think, still has the potential to be really powerful depending on what our plot options are.
Well, we already know from a certain suspended leader that 2 extra resources, in fact, is a lot to work with. So, yeah, I mean, it's 3 extra kind of committed resources a little bit, but yeah, I think the same thing definitely exists where it's like, all right, what kind of combos are you going to do? Because this is I feel like this is a set that's going to just be very combo reliant with the whole plot mechanic, and then disclose as well. What you show people, you're kind of going to be setting up a lot of chain reaction kind of things in a way that we haven't quite seen in the game before. But I'm excited about it. Tell us about Padme. I'm actually really hyped about this leader.
Yeah, Padme is super interesting to me personally. This is a cunning heroism leader, 6 deploy turn, or 6 cost, if you will, has a 3/8 stat line, has the tags Naboo, Republic, and Official. And I think Naboo is really interesting because, of course, at Galactic Championship, they teased future set names. One of them is Homeworlds. And so I think Naboo is something that will be forward relevant. But then we also have the text on her, which is when you reveal or discard 1 or more cards from your hand, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. So much like Palpatine is, I think, intended to be your plot leader, this is supposed to be your disclose leader. But the reason I say supposed to be is because it has not been lost on me that that is reveal or discard 1 or more cards. And I do think that we could see a lot of interesting interactions with her because of the flexibility there.
Yeah, I agree. You could go heavy disclose. You could also do a lot of discard shenanigans. And, as sets go on, we've got more and more of that. And I think there's a lot of reason for them to keep pushing discard-centric cards in the game right now. And a big reason is because we got Admiral Trench in set 4. So that is a leader that's all about messing with your discard pile and discarding things. We have Kylo as well in set 5. So there have been recent leaders that interact with discarding in some way. So I would imagine Padme is probably going to get some support over time, because it seems like that's something they want to have be present in the post-rotation format.
One of the things that I immediately thought of was, obviously, in a force throw time period like we are, this is something where it doesn't say that you are discarding, it's just whenever you do it, right?
Yeah,
so if
totally.
somebody uses discard things on you, then you're essentially kind of getting a free trigger. But the other thing that jumped out to me was, again, because this is cunning heroism, when you have certain cards where you can like bypass costs, right? So I thought of Bamboozle. Bamboozle is actually very interesting with her, because now you get the effects of Bamboozle plus the ping, and that could be incredible. And depending on how you build her, right, if your card that you're getting rid of with Bamboozle is like a cunning villainy card, well, now you're also setting up, if you're playing her with blue, your Anakin stuff for later, right? So there's all of these really cool interactions with payoffs now,
right,
that I think make her flexible even without seeing the rest of the set.
I mean, and it's good, because I thought Bamboozle was definitely a card that was a bit on the weaker side, and needed a little bit more support. So I'm relieved. I'm so relieved that Bamboozle is getting stronger. But it's only in this one leader. I'm being hyperbolic, but you get the idea. I agree. I think that's cool. All right, let's move on to a villainy vigilance card. It's been a while since we've gone through spoilers. I'm excited about this. It's been too long, Charmer. It's a space unit, the Chancellor's Shuttle. It says Grim Harbinger, which is a great band name, by the way. 1-5 stat line, 1-3 stat line, rather. Republic Vehicle Transport. Restore 1 when defeated. If you control Chancellor Palpatine as a leader or unit, you may give an experience token to a unit. So, it's obviously it's a special card. This is one that's going to be coming in, either the Spotlight or the 2-player starter set, depending on what they do for this next one. I think it fits in pretty well with what he's got going on,
Oh, absolutely. Because he's got the late deploy. You're obviously playing for the late game. Obviously, Vigilance and Villainy have done that since set 1. There's always some sort of control archetype, but this having Restore buys you that time. It's also kind of nice because, it's below stats for a turn 1 play, but then as long as you have initiative and you can plop something down, then you have the ability to kind of carry some of those stats over. I'm also really excited to see if there are other opportunities, both, once the set comes out, but also with future sets coming, to take advantage of that Chancellor Palpatine leader or a unit portion. Because I'm wondering, how many we're going to get in the future where you can maybe play this even if you're also running like a Chancellor Palpatine unit and not necessarily the leader.
Yeah. Right now, the only other Chancellor Palpatine is double yellow. So that'll be tough to use with this. So we'll have to have more releases. I was thinking, too, you could run this with the Chancellor Palpatine set 3 leader. But it's just kind of got a funny interaction where you play this card on the Darth Sidious side. But in order to take advantage of the when defeated, it has to be defeated on the Chancellor Palpatine side. So you can play this and then, use the fact that you've played this villainy card to then flip to Chancellor Palpatine and then, ideally have it around to take advantage of the when defeated. But it's usable by that leader. You just have to kind of jump through some hoops, but I'm glad that it still is at least, usable in a feasible way. It's kind of neat. And we got Newt Gunray. Check him out.
Yeah, Newt Gunray. This is a 3-cost ground unit. Vigilance and Villainy is a 3/4 stat line, is a separatist and an official. And again, I'm always looking for official because of those, Royal Guards from the set 1.
Well, also just big in this set in general.
Yeah, big in this set as well. All right, so your 3 cost gets you a 3/4 stat line with the grit keyword, and also has when played / on attack, you may give another friendly official sentinel for this phase. So again, the old official portion really coming in strong here.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see as we go through all these spoilers that the word official pops up a lot in this set, which makes sense. We're dealing with a lot of politicians, a lot of senators, a lot of executives and things like that. Less of the combat and war stuff and more of the backroom or Senate scheming, for the set. So yeah, official support seems like it's going to be a big thing. He's also got grit, which is nice. I mean, going back to him for a second, 3 for 3/4 with grit, good stat line, good keyword. And then the Sentinel, not only being when played and on attack, it seems like a really good card. Definitely rare material, I think.
Yeah.
Moving on to Sly Moore, Witness to the People. I've heard some people say Sly Mora, but I've always just said Sly Moore. What do you think? What's your opinion?
I don't think this looks like Sly. I think this looks like Sly Moore. So
me too. Sly Moore.
Yeah.
All right. Either way, Witness to Power. Vigilance, Villainy, yet again. Cost 4, 2/6 Republic official. When played for this phase, each enemy unit gets -2, -0 while it's attacking a base. What?
Sorry, I'm going to hate myself for this later, but
no. Okay.
The moment you started talking, I don't know why my brain did this, but I said in my brain, when the moon hits your eye and the unit's name is Sly, that's amore.
Oh, no. You're fired from this podcast right now.
I know, man.
This is you're done. This is your last one. I hope you've enjoyed it. But we're gonna have to let you go. We had a great run. So this unit also has plot. I'm never gonna let you get over that.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a defining thing of the show now. Plot. So yeah, it means you can play it when you flip your leader. Great. So this is theoretically a way to jump back into the game if your opponent is going wide. If you are feeling the pressure, if you are, say, playing Chancellor Palpatine right now as a leader, and your opponent has gone wide and they're very threatening, you can just play Slime More as part of your flip, and then you take the teeth out of your opponent's attacking for that phase. So I think it's neat. I wonder how much the ability for this card is going to come into play. I feel like this is going to be a sideboard card. I don't think it's just universally useful. The stat line doesn't do that. I don't think. There's plenty of games where playing this out of plot, just wouldn't do a whole lot. Say they have 6/8 out or something, then sure, give it -2, -0. It doesn't change the state of the game a whole lot. But against those go wide aggro decks, I could see this being a pretty strong, potential sideboard card.
So the thing that jumps out to me about it, and the reason that I kind of like it, one, plot in many ways is similar. It's not 100% the same, obviously, but it's similar to Smuggle. So I'm more inclined to include cards with it, even if they are tech cards, because this could be something that you just run as a 1 or a 2 of.
Sure.
And then you use it when you would run into the issue. The other thing is, if you're running a list where the official trait matters, this 6 health would be super relevant for somebody like a Newt.
That's
right?
Fair. Sure.
So I could see a situation where this makes a list. I don't think that it'll likely be like a 3 of, unless there are other weird combos with the when played portion where you're getting that effect over and over again. But, like as a 1 of emergency button, I think that it will probably find a home.
You could do kind of a techie thing, or like 1 in the main board, 1 in the sideboard, or something like that. Yeah. But I think it is definitely a tech card more than anything. All right. Ooh, you get to talk about Cad Bane.
Yeah. Cad Bane is a 5-cost ground unit, vigilance and villainy, has a 4/5 stat line, underworld and bounty hunter traits, but it does have, when played, you may defeat a unit with 2 or less remaining HP, and of course, Cad Bane also has plot. So it is a 4/5 with a pretty decent when played, but the fact, again, that it has plot is, I think, what really jumps out to me here, because I think that what we're going to see personally is you're going to end up running so much plot for the decks that care about plot, to the point where you have a wealth of options and you're just picking the ones you need when you need them.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think it's like, unless there's a specific combo deck where you're always trying to pull off the same thing. I think instead what's going to happen is you're going to want a bunch of these kind of like onesie twosie inclusions, and then you're going to want to just play the ones that are relevant when you need them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I also think this is a good candidate for that event that we'll take a look at, that just lets you play a plot card early,
Right.
This is a good candidate for that one. We'll get to it. Dogmatic Shock Squad, wow, which is also a great, it was the name of my punk band in high school. Have I ever told you about when I played guitar in Dogmatic Shock Squad? 6-cost vigilance villainy, 4/6 stat line, Republic clone trooper, sentinel, and plot. So, hey, you can pop a sentinel out of nowhere if you are flipping your leader. Again, a good candidate for that event. But if nothing else, it's a 6 for 4/6 plot. I look sentinel rather. I look at this card, and the charmer part of my brain turns on, and I think I wouldn't mind grabbing a couple of these in limited.
Yeah, that's, I think, 100% where this is. This is very akin to, the tank with Smuggle in my mind. Mm-hmm. It is a big body that you can pretty consistently be happy with when you're playing in limited, whether you're playing it from hand or from plot.
Right.
And that's good enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think as we look through these too, it is important to kind of identify what are the cards you're going to be looking for in limited, as well as just a premiere. Oh, I love the art on this, mostly because I just love the design of this ship. It's so cool. But the Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser from Andor is the most recent time I think we've seen this on screen. 7/4, a 6/7 is vigilance, villainy, Imperial vehicle, capital ship. When played, you may disclose vigilance, villainy. If you do, exhaust an enemy unit. That unit can't ready while this unit is in play. So really interesting little lockdown effect that kind of just puts the ball in the opponent's court and says, hey, if you want to, ready your Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, you need to take out the Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser first. So I like this in that it deals with a unit in a way that doesn't give your opponent a chance to necessarily respond right away, in that defeating that unit doesn't trigger something else, right? It requires them to find an answer from hand or already have it on the board. So I think it's cool. I like it.
I really like it because it very specifically says enemy unit and not non-leader enemy unit. And I think that will be what makes it playable if it does see play. I could see a world where, again, this might be a 1 or a 2 of just as a top end card where you're trying to lock something down, but it's a 6/7 body, which is not the easiest to get rid of. I think 7 is a really nice break point now that we're living in a world of Anakins and Lukes with the -6/-6. So that 7 is really important.
Yeah.
And again, when you can do this on somebody's leader, right? If you think about current meta with Kylo, like, yeah, they'll get the 1 attack, but if that doesn't kill you, and then you can just make Kylo locked down, right? If they don't have the protective lightsaber on it to prevent that effect, then this could do a lot of work.
Yeah, it's neat. And I do think it is another bomb in limited as well, if you have the cards in hand.
For sure.
Yeah. And also just a cool looking card. This is going to be another one that I'm going to be excited to see the hyperspace for. Tell us about the Donnie Pilgrim.
The Donnie Pilgrim is a 1-cost ground unit, just vigilance. It's a 1/3 fringe. It says when played and when defeated, heal 1 damage from your base. And that's it. Simple enough. I think might find a home in maybe limited. If there's ever a fringe deck, that might also be relevant. Outside of that, I don't know. Like, even when I look at this, I don't know that I would want to run this and say Thrawn, even with being able to heal more from it, just because it's not enough, right? I'm already running stuff like the CR90 relief runner that's going to heal significantly more in that deck. So I don't know. Like, it's fine. It's a common. It doesn't need to be an all-star, but it just doesn't, because it's only fringe, it also just doesn't enable anything else for me right now. So I'm really struggling to say positive things.
I think it's another one where, sure, in limited you're going to want to heal a little bit here and there, but the other decks you would think of that would run a card like this would be like Rey or something, but you've already got Lars and the Moisture Farmer, which I think are kind of just like better because they're higher health totals already. So, I don't see this card really seeing Premier play too much, at least not pre-rotation. Post-rotation, I don't know, all bets are off, but like pre-rotation, I don't think we're going to see a ton of it, but I think it is kind of a cool conditional kind of Healy sort of card. We'll have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. So the only other thing, just real quick, the only other thing that I could say where this might get pushed up a notch, I have noticed so far, granted we're very early in reveal season, but there's been a lot of when played cards. So we could end up seeing, an archetype that's centered around like when played abilities. And so if there are more ways to get that side of the trigger over and over again, then I could see a situation where the value on this goes up.
You just figured it out. This is Qui-Gon Jinn support. Qui-Gon Jinn Blue.
Well, I don't know if I get that far, but
you cracked the code. It's clearly a Qui-Gon card. All right, let's move on to an upgrade. Pay 2, vigilance only, Armor of Fortune, 0/3 with plot. So I think more than this is an easy joke to make, but this is literally plot armor for your leader. And it even kind of was for the character in the show too, which is kind of funny. So I think they picked the right scene, the right art for the card, because I think this is just, Armor of Fortune, kind of lucky, kind of like the plot demands that this character lives for a little longer. Yeah, this card is literally plot armor.
Yeah, not much else to say. I am curious as to whether or not this will see any sort of play outside of limited. Paying 2 for just +0, +3 doesn't feel super great. Even if you're in something like Gar Saxon, maybe again because of the plot, it's something that you slide in. But in limited, that could be enough.
Yeah, 3 health is a lot of health in limited. So Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun card to just sort of play around with. But I also have my doubts if it will see play in Premiere. And I'm going to use this asterisk again with like every time I say that, because rotation is the next set after this one. So there's going to be a lot of things that we rely on that are making us say that it won't see Premiere play that will be gone. So, maybe things will change then. But for now, probably not. How about a law?
All right,
Lay down
so
the law, Charmer.
now we have Charged with Murder. This is a 4-cost vigilance event, and the trait for it is Law, much like you said. Says you may disclose 2 vigilance. If you do, defeat a damaged non-leader unit. And this is interesting to me because it's in that nice, like, it's in that same realm of like Shatterpoint to me, right? Where it's thematic in that, like in this case, you have to do the disclose. It has to be a damaged non-leader unit. So of course your immediate thought is like, okay, well, there's got to be some sort of setup. But then I immediately also think of like the Padme leader that we just saw, right? Where your active player, you get to choose order of effects. You do the disclose, you use her ability to ping something, and then you just go ahead and, charge it with murder essentially. So I could see this finding a home in, potentially a Padme blue list.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder too, going back, it's whenever you reveal, right? So you could reveal multiple cards and get multiple pings, right? Unless her ability was once per turn. I'm trying to remember. Let me look it up.
So I think it's once per turn on the leader side, and then I think it's when she's deployed, it's just whenever you do it.
That's what I thought. Yeah, when she's deployed.
Correctly.
Yeah. Well, leader side is exhaust this unit. I was thinking to do it, or exhaust this leader. I was thinking about the leader unit side.
The unit side is just blanket.
Yep. It does say though, when you reveal or discard 1 or more cards from your hand. So I think they cover it there, where it's like if you disclose 2 cards, you don't get to do 2 ping.
Oh, right.
I feel like they headed me off at the pass there with that one. All right, never mind. Fantasy Flight Games never letting us have any fun with this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure it would be way too strong if you could actually ping twice with that. So I'm glad that text is there on Padme. But what I want to say about this card though is that it's a great example of another conditional removal spell. And again, rotation, we're going to lose a lot of those non-conditional removal spells, right? We're going to lose Power of the Dark Side. We're going to lose Takedown. We're going to lose Vanquish. We're going to lose Rival's Fall. And I like that we have removal still being in the game, but being conditional, right? Because it makes it, for me, it makes it harder for people to build those big, straight up heavy control decks where it's like you play a card, they just remove it. You play a card, remove it. I've always hated playing against decks like that in every card game I've played. And so we're hitting critical mass for that being, and I'm looking at you, Aiden, for that being a viable thing in this game right now. So I'm glad that rotation appears to be moving away from that, because I just think it's like a less fun way to play the game to have to play into that, So, and this looks like a good way to, get around it, right? Where 4 costs is very achievable. Putting damage on a unit is very achievable either via leader ability or something on board. And so I think this will be a good removal event post-rotation. Pre-rotation, I think it will be very, specifically used. Post-rotation, I think it's going to be a lot more common.
You know what I just realized about the Padme leader? I was just looking through some of the cards that have the word reveal on it, and all of those like conditional draw stuff where it's like, search the top 5 cards of your deck for, X, Y, or Z, and then reveal it and draw it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's all going to trigger for her as well.
Well, it says
I'm excited to build around her.
I don't think that would count because it says reveal or discard from your hand. And so that you're revealing a card that you're
revealing it and then drawing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that I don't think so. I think a lot of people are going to get tripped up by this Padme leader when she comes out, because they're going to have the same questions we did. And if you read the Padme leader, it's very specifically worded. I think they did a great job with the wording on this card because it's answering a lot of those questions. So yeah, revealing from a search won't trigger the Padme leader unit side.
No, you're 100% correct. I just, because it ends up in your hand, my brain was just jumping to like, yeah, it's in your hand. Like,
Yeah.
but you're right. It's reveal and then
Put it
draw.
in your hand. Yeah, reveal, then draw. Yeah.
Yep.
Important to note. All right. Let's move on to Retaliation. Cost 5. Defeat a unit that dealt damage to a base this phase. Which, hey, here's our conditional vanquish replacement. Again, we're looking at that conditional removal coming in, and I think this is very reasonable. Your opponent gets to attack with a unit, right? And then you get to take it out. You don't just get to take it out for free. Your opponent actually gets to do something with the cards they are playing. That sounds like a good thing in a card game. So, yeah, I like this. I like this.
Yeah, I like this a lot just because, again, it's a unit, right? So for me, it's the same thing as, you know, the ship that we saw before. It's not non-leader unit, it's a unit. And it also says dealt damage, not combat damage.
Yeah.
So if you've got any sort of leaders that can also ping bases or whatever, oh boy, right? Like you think about OG Set 1 Vader, he comes down and you know, I think that won't work either because he's not the unit yet. So the leader side, I was thinking about like if he pings your base before he deploys and then you deploy him.
Oh no, because he's not a unit yet.
But he's not a unit yet at that point. So
but if he would attack a unit, if he would, well, I guess when he attacks, yeah, that wouldn't work. But Sabine would, because Sabine can damage 100%. Sabine can damage bases even if she's not attacking that base. So yeah, that would certainly affect her. But either way, I think it'll be a potent removal thing to have in the post-set rotation meta. Moving on to Command.
All right, we have Corrupt Politician. This is a 1-cost ground unit. It is Command and Villainy. Has a 2/2 stat line with Republic and official traits. While you control more units than an opponent, this unit gains Sentinel. So this is very clearly a like go wide speed bump. The idea being when you outnumber your opponent and you're trying to, you know, protect some of maybe your more vulnerable units, you say, okay, well, I want you to have to go over this one first.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's just good to have another early game speed bump, like you just said. If you're going to be playing control, especially on the command side, this is going to be useful. I also think this is potentially a decent aggro card too, right? I mean, a 2/2 for 1, decent stats for the cost, just giving it Sentinel to protect something else you'd rather have live for another phase. I think it could work on both sides. So I like it. This kind of card excites me. And you notice it is a special card as well. So this is another one of the ones that specifically will come with the blue-green Chancellor Palpatine Spotlight deck.
So the other thing that I really like about it as well is it's going to work, I think, incredibly well with the spy tokens. I know we haven't got to any of those yet in our reveal discussion, but there's a number of cards that are creating those new spy tokens. Right. And this is, you know, as I was talking about protecting some of the more vulnerable units, this is another way that you could very effectively do that. Yeah,
very true. Very true. Although I got to say, the art, I think, is misleading. He doesn't look corrupt necessarily, you know, he's just kind of hanging out. He's just looking at his iPad there or whatever, and wearing his collar popped. He's just chilling. See, you know,
I thought it was just a redundant name because it says corrupt and politician.
Wow, that's the level of cynicism that I've come to expect from you. You did not disappoint me. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I got you.
Either way, I want some more shady, back alley art for the corrupt politician. He just kind of looks like he's, deciding on what to order for lunch. Anyway, moving on. Major Partagast, healthcare provider. I love that they included that as his actual tagline because it's from the show. He does say that in the show, but it's also just kind of hilarious too.
I also appreciate that he has the villainy trait.
Yeah,
as a healthcare provider.
Again, warranted cynicism. That is completely warranted if you live in a certain nation. But anyway, 2/4 command villainy card, as we've said, 0/6 stat line, Imperial official, overwhelm. Interesting. When another friendly official attacks, this unit gets +2/+2 for this phase. So I like it. His clout, his power, if you will, increases when his minions go out and do the dirty work. So I think this card just nails it on the flavor side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But it also is just kind of really interesting official synergy. We just saw the corrupt politician, cheap official. You can get an attack in with buff major Partagast. I like it. I want to see what the biggest major Partagast combos people can build with, because I'm wondering now if I can build a Wat Tambor official centric list, because you have things attacking, buffing major Partagast. Wat Tambor is buffing major Partagast. You could make a major Partagast.
A major Partagast.
Changing like Giga Partagast.
Yeah, major squared.
Supreme leader Partagast. Anyway, cool card. I like the silly thoughts that come into my head about how to build combos around him. So I'm looking forward to playing with this one. Any thoughts?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. The other thing that jumped out to me, again, because of the official trait, even when it has the, 0 attack for this phase, I think that this combos pretty well with Newt, because Newt could give this Sentinel, and then that 6 health is like a big shield or hurdle your opponent has to go over. But later on, again, because of the ordering, right? If you attack with like 2 officials and then attack with Newt and Major's still there, well, now suddenly he's, a 6/12 Sentinel or whatever just hanging out. So that interplay, I think, is pretty neat.
He only costs 2 as well, which is absolutely wild, because that means that very early on you could theoretically get some really good trades with him if there's other ways to buff him. So it is a very intriguing card for sure. Whoa, there he is.
There he is. Chancellor Palpatine as a unit. Wasn't I just talking about other ways as a unit?
You were.
So this is a 3-cost ground unit. Villainy and Command, has a 2/2 stat line, is a Republic official. Again, Republic, super important. Says, when played, if you control a leader unit, create 2 spy tokens and give these tokens Sentinel for this phase. And then also has the plot keyword. So if you do not remember or you did not see the Galactic Championship announcement, the spy tokens are 0/2s with raid 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So not only does it give you a few units to sort of act as a buffer to both protect your leader, but also this unit, you get that that plot aspect to it too, where you can pop out with the deploy. So I think obviously it combos well with the leader that we saw, the blue leader, not the blue leader, but the blue as in vigilance Palpatine leader. I gotta be careful how I say that. But yeah, I think he plays well into the themes that it seems like we're seeing from the Chancellor Palpatine leader side of things. So yeah, not a whole lot to add about that. I think it's a cool card. Moving on to the ISB Shuttle, 3 for a command villainy space unit, 3/2 stat line Imperial vehicle transport. When played, if a friendly unit was defeated this phase, create a spy token. I mean, the more I see this stuff, the more I think Wat Tambor's coming back. He's coming back in a big way. Make a spy token. You're replacing the unit that was defeated. When that spy token's defeated, Wat Tambor buffs something. Like, I'm telling you, Wat Tambor officials. Yeah. Wat Tambor officials. We're gonna be bringing it back in a set 6.
Now, it is also worth noting, I wanted to double check because I remembered it this way, but I always want to double check. So spy tokens are also officials. And so as we talk about all of this official synergy, and again, like with the major, for example, these spy tokens are also a great way to make the major huge as well.
Yeah, that's true. They are also officials. Very cool. Anything else to add to that one?
No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this is also just a really good limited card for the common slot. You get space presence, and then if a friendly unit was defeated, you're getting both space and ground presence because of the spy token. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's got good traits.
Yeah.
Okay stat line. It's good common.
Cool art too. Always love that ship design. Tell us about Masameda.
This is a 4-cost ground unit. Command and Villainy is a 3/4 stat line, but it is a Republic official. When played, give it an experience token to each of up to 2 other officials, but this also has plot. So this is a great way to, when you deploy your leader, if you have some other options that have like when played create spy tokens, or maybe some of the other officials like the Chancellor Palpatine that we just saw, they've got when played, but they also are officials. So you could order your triggers when you play the plot to play some of the smaller things and then play this and, buff the board. It's something that looks underwhelming because you're paying 4 for a 3/4, but if you get the trigger, you're really paying 4 for essentially a 5/6 worth of stats. And when you factor that in, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to make your Chancellor Palpatine leader a 7/9 when he comes out is significant, because that is a giant leader unit.
Yeah, that is a meaty boy.
Absolutely. that's how everybody describes Chancellor Palpatine.
Yeah. Right.
He's a Sith Lord and a meaty boy. Let's talk about another. I don't know if he's meaty or not. Vice Admiral Rampart on schedule. Cost 4, he's command villainy. This episode's going way off the rails. 3/6 Imperial official. On attack, you may disclose command villainy. If you do, give an experience token to each of up to 2 other units. So very similar ability to the card we just looked at. But I think this is another interesting aspect of the villainy official sort of archetype that we're seeing emerge, is a lot of giving XP tokens.
Yeah, there's that. The other thing, if you're wondering, okay, like why does the other unit have, potentially lower stats? Well, it's because the other one is a when played plus has the plot, whereas this is on attack, right? So you're paying 4 for a 3/6. You do get the benefit that this is both an Imperial and an official. So this could work in, your Tarkin lists and some of your official lists, maybe your Wat Tambor official list. But with the on attack portion of this, obviously this has to stick around. Now, the upside is you could potentially keep getting this bonus, right? If this actually survives to get like 2 attacks off, then it's a heck of a play.
Okay.
It's in command, so obviously you'll have, plenty of ways to potentially give this ambush to get that first on attack right away. I think that there are some neat things potentially, possible with our Vice Admiral here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's a neat card, and again, kind of leans into this sort of combo planning sort of side of things. It's going to be a really fun set. I'm getting more and more excited about this set every day. Daedra Miro with verifiable data. Oh, okay, it was kind of small on my screen. I thought it said vestigial for a second. I was like, with what? But verifiable data. That's what it is. Cost 6. It is a command villainy ground unit. 5/5 Imperial official. She's got ambush, and then on attack, create a spy token. Very cool. So she gets to create a spy token right away because, if you do go through the ambush, that is an attack. So you're creating 5/5 and then a 0/2 with raid 2 in stats. So for 6, that seems pretty good. And again, just having more ambush is never a bad thing. I think ambush is one of the strongest keywords in the game. And so being able to ambush a 5 attack card is usually pretty significant. Especially in limited,
I think this card is outstanding for an uncommon. In limited, I think it's going to be a house. Again, it's got Imperial and Official. Those are 2 very relevant traits. Imperial has always been relevant. Official is going to be very relevant with this new set. But the fact that you also get the ambush attack. So again, thinking about the Major, right? If the Major is just hanging out because nobody wants to get rid of him, and then you play Daedra, well, you also get the Major trigger, right? Because she's an official that has swung. And I could see a world where she absolutely sees constructed play.
For sure.
The one thing that might hold her back is you're paying 6 for only 5, and at least in the world we live in right now, that's not enough to take out a lot of other leaders. So a lot of the ambush plays we see right now are really designed for, 6 or 7 damage when possible because you want to target leaders. But this is still, good enough, I think. And it's a house in limited. I can't believe this is an uncommon.
Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of it in limited. I think people hope they see a lot of it in limited. But I'll also agree. I think this could pop up in Premiere. Moving on. Tell us about another law. You get all the laws today, apparently.
I get all the laws. So this is a 6-cost event. It is Villainy and Command, and the title of this card is I Am the Senate. It is a law, and it very simply says create 5 spy tokens. So again, if you don't remember, those are 0-2 tokens that are officials and have raid 2.
Yep. So I mean, not much more needs to be said. You get a lot of spy tokens. I think they're traditionally, and this is a special card by the way, so it comes in the Spotlight deck. Traditionally, this type of card, if you think about the big tie deployment legendary we had in set 4, doesn't see a ton of play. However, I think at 6 cost, I think this one does have a little bit more chance. It's 6 resources is very achievable, and it's still at the point in the game where you may just want to go wide, and give your opponent a lot to deal with. So I think well, we won't see it in limited because it's a special card, but like I do think that in Premier there may be some decks that can take advantage of that. So I'm curious to see the rest of the reveals here, because this is a card where I'm a little bit higher on it than I was on the tie deployment card, the make a TIE fighter tokens. I think this one could see some play depending on the support that exists around it.
All right, hear me out.
Okay.
You're playing Twin Suns.
Yeah.
So you're running Command, Double Cunning. You got your Chancellor Palpatine Legendary out so that your tokens enter ready.
Mm-hmm.
You got your Marchian Row Legendary out so that all your raid units are double.
Ooh,
and then you play this.
Yep.
And then you just unload on somebody out of nowhere.
All right. Well, there's the combo. That's a deck that needs to be made at some point. I love it. That is actually sick. All right. You knew the deep lore with the I Am the Senate card. You've cracked the code already. Somebody stop this man. All right. Somebody stop this droid. C3PO. Anything I might do. 1 cost command heroism card. 1/3 stat line. Republic and droid. Action. Return this unit to its owner's hand. Give a unit +2/+2 for the phase. We saw this teased earlier on with the droid package that was the droid special card package that was sold to the Galactic Championship. But here it is in the not flesh and the metal and circuitry, I guess. But I don't know. What do you think about this card? I'm a little. I think it's good. I think it's kind of like a heroism Salacious Crumb to a certain extent, if that makes sense, because you do get the bounce effect that is good. I'm thinking of cards like Maz Kanata, right, where when you play a card, you get to put an XP on something. Getting to use C3PO to buff something, and then also play it again to buff the Maz Kanata. Like, I could see this occupying a spot in some interesting kind of go wide things, but I do think it's just a decent little aggro card. But very notably, it does not have the Rebel tag, so it doesn't interact with like that archetype. If you were going to put in Sabine or something, it would require a different kind of build, I think. But I think it's got some potential as an aggro card.
Yeah, so that all makes sense. The thing that immediately jumped out to me when I saw it, and you hit the nail on the head, it's like the heroism version of Salacious Crumb. Ultimately, I think the healing from Crumb is slightly better, but
for sure,
really, like
and
the best use of Salacious Crumb is usually when paired with the OG Vader leader, because you want to keep playing the villainy cards to turn on your leader, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is the heroism way you keep turning on Luke, potentially.
Oh, okay. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think you'll find some use. It's too good of an ability to not see some play, at least, I do think it's not as strong as Salacious Crumb, because just healing and damage is straight up usually more useful than just buffing, because when you buff something, it still has to live for another action to get to take advantage of that buff. So,
oh man, I take it back. I had to go double check again. Luke is not like the Vader. It gives the shield to the unit you've played, so you just keep giving it to C3PO.
Oh, I thought you were talking about how that would be a good thing, and I was like, yeah, I guess it'd be good because it guarantees it makes it more likely you can bounce him for the +2/+2.
Yeah, I was just thinking about because the whole point with Crumb is that you turn on the Vader thing, and then Vader can ping whatever he wants. Boo.
Well, Charmer's already post rotation. He's already forgetting everything from the first 3 sets.
Oh,
you've moved to the future already.
I just never play with that Luke, unfortunately.
It's a good leader. All right, tell us about Mina.
Mina Bonteri. This is a 2-cost ground unit. It's heroism in command. The subtitle is Stop This War. So that being said, this has a 2/4 stat line. It is a separatist and an official, has restore 1, and when defeated, you may disclose command, heroism, and if you do, draw a card. This card is an uncommon and it feels bonkers to me.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't know
good.
how else to put it. This is a 2/4 with a keyword that is super relevant and a very relevant when defeated, and is also an official. Like, Gungi, I believe in Gungi supremacy, and obviously Gungi's a 2/5 and has the Jedi trait or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But this really is like the Gungi of officials, the official on steroids.
Officials.
I don't even know how to mentally process how good this card feels to me right now.
I think it's a great card. I mean, it does so much, right? It's got great stats. It's got a great keyword. It's got a great when defeated. Like, just you're never going to be sad about anything with this card, right? You're going to be feeling confident putting it down that it's going to get at least an attack off. Even if it doesn't, you've got a great when defeated, that it replaces itself. I think this is going to be just a straight up value include in a lot of decks, that are going to lean into the official thing, that don't need a specific trait, right? I think this could see play in, something like, the new Obi-Wan list. If you, you do need a force unit to get the force, obviously, but like this could be one of those rare non-force includes because it is just good enough, Other things like Rey, I suppose, could use it. But I think going forward too, this is going to be a card that is just going to be useful. Obviously, it works in Padme too, since you do get to get the advantage of the damage from the disclose on the leader. So yeah, great card. I'll be happy if I pull 1 or 2 in limited for sure. All right, moving on to Ahsoka Tano, another special card, this time from the Padme side of things. 3 for a 2/5, command, heroism, force, Jedi Republic. When this unit completes an attack and survives, you may disclose command and heroism. If you do, attack with another unit. So this is interesting. Right away, having played a lot of Kit Fisto lately, the Jedi tag catches my eye. And I think, if I'm being more aggressive, is this a card I would replace like Obi-Wan with, right? Because, say you attack with her and then you get to swing right away with like your other character that has a lightsaber or something, she could potentially enable some big damage turns, some interesting combos with on attacks. So I think there's a lot of ifs and maybes with this card. I'm not going to say it's great, but I do think there is potential in this card, especially around that Jedi tag. So this is what I'm kind of like filing in the back of my mind for like, all right, let's try it out in deck building later on when the set comes out.
Yeah, it feels like one of those cards that has potential. I worry about the stat line. The 2 attack for paying 3 feels a little low.
Yeah.
With Padme, obviously, you get the repeated disclose triggers as well, which could be super beneficial. Mm-hmm. The traits are all great. I just wonder, like you were saying, if it's good enough to bump out any of the usual suspects right now, and that's the part that I struggle with.
Yeah, and it might be another post-rotation thing too. Maybe post-rotation this card looks really good then, But it's funny that like most of the Ahsoka Tano cards we've seen have been a lot of, well, the card has potential, but then it doesn't really end up getting used. The only exception, of course, being the Cunning one, the forecast one that's like deadly in Quinlan. But I think like the legendary one too, where it's like, well, that looks good, but she just can't do like you're saying and bump another better card out of a deck slot yet. And I do think yet is the important factor there. So we'll see. Moving on. Wow, that's quite the chin on Captain Typho in this image.
Yeah, somebody who might be able to bump some cards out. Captain Typho. This is a 4-cost ground unit. It's command and heroism. Mm-hmm. And it has a 4/5 stat line, has the traits Naboo, Republic, and Trooper. So a couple of relevant ones and potentially one in the future. Has Sentinel, so it's 4 for a 4/5 Sentinel. When this unit is attacked, you may disclose command and heroism. if you do, heal 1 damage from your base. So not only does he
It's
get
kinda
in the
cool.
way of things on the ground, but then also gets to heal your base. And then again, you know, if you're playing Padme, and this is of course got the starter or special rarity, so likely in one of the starters or decks with her, then you also get to deal damage as well. So you get to heal 1, damage 1, get a sentinel. It just kind of does all the things that you want in that list.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, like, people are all excited about Chirrut right now, and sure, Chirrut is not heroism or villainy, so he's more broadly usable, but like, I see this and I'm like, man, he's got 1 more attack. You don't need to use the force to get a good ability out of it. You just need to show some cards from your hand. Like, this is a great card. Like, this is a card that's obviously going to be, you know, strong in just the Spotlight deck if you want to do Spotlight deck wars. But I think this is a card that I would throw in a lot of, you know, slower, more mid-rangey kind of command heroism decks just in general, you know? Honestly, I look at this, I'm like, Boba Fett 2, you know? The Boba heroism leader from set 2. You've got a keyword on this. You can make him a 5/5 with Sentinel with all that great ability too. So, yeah, I think it's just a generically very good card. And it's kind of meta agnostic in a way, you know, because it doesn't require you to be really running a bunch of other thematic, you know, game mechanics. So yeah, I think one of the standout cards that's been revealed so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, yeah, it doesn't have the force trait, but like, who cares if I wanted to play like a late game Avar Chris deck, for example, where Avar is giving me the force. This is a great way to stall to get you to that late game.
Yeah, for sure. Combination of Sentinel and healing and damage, and I mean, just a lot of damage on the body itself with 4. It's great. All right, let's check out the Naboo Royal Starship. This is a rare from the set. 4 for a command heroism card. 2/5. This is unique, by the way. Fit for a queen. Naboo vehicle transport. Each friendly leader unit gains raid 2 and overwhelm. So each friendly leader unit. So you're telling me you want me to put it in Twin Suns, but then it also has plot too. So, you know, this is a really interesting card because it just being able to give your leader raid 2 and overwhelm when it comes out, and then just have a 2/5 hanging out in space, is really intriguing actually. So I wonder if there's some fun things you could do with keywords. You know, again, as someone who's been playing a lot of Kit Fisto lately, having Kit Fisto flip and have raid 2 and overwhelm sounds pretty good. In addition to his Saboteur, which is already really good. It is not Jedi, obviously, but I feel like there's going to be some pretty strong combos people are going to come up with this card because of what it gives to leaders.
Yeah, I think that what this does is it gives some leaders a bit more oomph that wouldn't otherwise, right? So obviously this is a rare from the set, but being that it's her starship, even if you were thinking about including this in your Padme list, for example, you know, it takes a 3/6 to a 5/6 overwhelm when attacking. That seems pretty good to me. If you've already got something that has a high attack and you're also then just trying to add the raid 2 and overwhelm because maybe they were, you know, trying to throw a sentinel or something in front of it.
Yeah.
It's great there. And again, because this has plot, I just keep thinking about plot cards as potential toolbox options. This could, again, be very well the card that you include maybe 1 or 2 of, and maybe you only deploy this if they have sentinels and you wanted to do the overwhelm, right? Maybe this is something that ends up being a 3 of. Who knows? It is nice that, you know, again, as long as you have the leader on the board, you're essentially getting a 4/5 for 4 in terms of stats with a keyword off of plot, which is not bad.
More Avar Chris support too. I mean, imagine flipping this when you are flipping Avar Chris as a leader, and she's just absolutely massive. She's like a kaiju now, you know? It's great.
Well, right. And then if you're running the thing that lets you attack with a unit when it's exhausted, but it can only attack other units.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you got the overwhelm and you just want that massive double swing.
She's a crate dragon. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. I like it. I think this is a excellent Avar Chris support. Let's move on to Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma, Clinging to Hope. This is a 7-cost ground unit. It is heroism and command. Has a 5/8 stat line. Is a rebel and official. Has restore 3. Also has, when played, you may attack with any number of other units one at a time. Even if those units are exhausted, they can't attack bases for these attacks. So I was just talking about the event, obviously, but this is another one of those cards that enables the same thing. And so, you know, if you play your Avar Chris and then you also turn around and play her, right? Like you could do the swing with Avar, play Mon Mothma, get the swing again. The fact that you get the really cool when played with this, and then you leave behind a 5/8 restore 3 is honestly what really jumps out to me. And post rotation, right? We keep thinking about these post rotation uses. When we don't have Luke Skywalker anymore as your top end stabilizer, there's a strong chance this kind of takes that place, right? It's not a full -6/-6, but being able to get a body with restore and then, you know, maybe get a removal or a trade out of it, that is, it might be close enough.
This is the first time I've ever looked at a card and been like, are they sure they didn't mean to make this legendary? Because I think this is a legendary quality card in a rare body, right? So I'm surprised at how good this card is. The when played is just fantastic. The stat line is good and the restore is good, but that when played just is going to open up so many really, really scary phases. So yeah, I'm very excited about this card. And if it did have the legendary tag on it, I would not be surprised at all. I'm more surprised that it's a rare. But let's talk about dismantling the conspiracy. It's a tactic. 6 for a command heroism event. A friendly unit captures any number of enemy non-leader units with a total of 7 or less remaining HP. So it's basically like the Cad Bane unit, legendary unit, on an event card. One less in terms of cost and total HP you can capture, but we all know how good that Cad Bane is. You don't get a body when you play this, but I think this could be, honestly, again, I'm going to say Avar Chris, right? You flip Avar Chris, and then you have her capture a bunch of stuff, and she's huge, and nobody can stop her. Like, this is so interesting, actually.
I was just about to say, I think that the real application for this is the fact that you can have your leader do the capturing, right? Because the leaders are a bit more sturdy, and that's kind of the one drawback to Cad Bane, right? So if this finds a home, that's where I would see it. Whether it's Avar or just some other leader with a massive health pool, makes sense.
Yeah, pretty cool card. I think it's gonna be good. Oh boy!
You know what else is a cool card?
What? Who?
Jar Jar Binks.
In the flesh.
Propose. This is a 2-cost ground unit. It is just command, because of course Jar Jar is, you know, flirting with the dark side at this point in his life.
Especially in this moment, you're like, Jar Jar, you're dooming the Republic here, buddy. Yeah.
So 2-cost ground unit, just command, has a 2/1 stat line, has 4 traits, has Naboo, Republic, Gungan, and Official.
Yeah.
Also says, when played, you may give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase, and also has plot. So worst case scenario, if you really need a turn 1 drop, you could maybe play it. If you're playing an aggro deck, though, this is, I think, really nice for just giving you a body with a good when played. The fact that it also has plot means it's very easy to resource and then get value from later. Again, potentially buffing up a big leader attack, because you can just play the leader and then order of operations, have this come down after it's entered play. It's pretty versatile. It's not like a barn burner card, but I think it's functional enough that it might get looked at.
Dude, I think Avar Chris plot OTK decks are like legit going to be a thing with this set. I'm going to start brewing now, because I think there might be something there. I'm getting excited. But hey, also Wat Tambor support, obviously, you know?
Yeah.
All right. We got the Taylander Shuttle. 3 for a 2/4. It's a space unit only command. Fringe vehicle transport. On attack, if you have the initiative, create a spy token. Ooh, okay. So that's some hoops to jump through. You know, having the initiative is always one of those things where it's like, you know, those cards are only good if there's no other card that can kind of do that thing better. I guess it really depends on how much a deck is going to need spy tokens, right? Because you can set this up to create a lot of spy tokens, right? If you're able to get the initiative a lot. But I feel like this is another card that's going to be decent and limited, but probably not see a lot of Premier play.
I was just going to say, I think that this will be at its best in limited, just because while I love the design, it's also kind of at odds with itself, because if you're making a bunch of spy tokens, you're less likely to end up with the initiative because you have to take more actions to use all your tokens, right?
Yeah.
So when you really get the most out of this is likely when you're either not using your tokens or you're playing from behind, and so you have the initiative and you need the body.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's I think we just move on from that one. This is a cool one though.
Yeah. So we have a Nubian Star Skiff. I love the art on this. This is a 4-cost space unit, just command. It's a 4/4 stat line. It is Naboo, vehicle, and transport. But while you control an official unit, this unit gains Restore 2. So 4 for a 4/4 that if you build around it, very likely has Restore 2. Honestly, this is a pretty solid common, and I like it a lot in limited.
Yeah, great stat line. Very easily achievable Restore. I think it's, like you said, going to be great and limited, and maybe just maybe, some sustain in official heavy deck. So again, not locked to either villainy or heroism. I think it's interesting. I love how that you've got the starfighters, the Nubian starfighters, going the opposite direction from the big ship. They're like, all right, our job is done. Good luck. We're heading out.
Yeah.
All right, Naboo Security Force, 6 for a 5/7 command only ground unit. Naboo and Trooper are the tags. When played / when defeated, you may disclose command. If you do, give a friendly unit Sentinel for this phase. So you can give the Naboo Security Force Sentinel if you want to when you play it. Otherwise, it can be a way to just, again, throw some roadblocks in front of your opponent. I think it's going to be, again, decent and limited, but I don't know if we're going to see a ton of it in Premier play. I kind of doubt it.
If we do, it'll be like way down the road when we get to the Homeworlds thing and it cares about the Naboo.
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
That's
I suppose
the only
maybe
way I could see it.
Yeah, if they have that, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the surprising sudden addition of all the Naboo tags. Did the original Jar Jar have Naboo as a tag? That's a good question.
Real quick.
Let me see.
Because I have been looking stuff up as we go here.
All right.
The first one was just Gungan.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that does make me think that there is going to be a reason why Naboo is important, and we've always had the tags on the base cards themselves. You know, the planet tags or whatever. So so it always felt like there was going to be something with that. Well, fingers crossed. We'll see. You might be right there. All right. More plot armor. Unveiled.
Yeah, more plot armor.
Yeah, not as truly plot armor as the last one was, but this is. I suppose this also qualifies. 4 for a 2. Well, it's an upgrade. Unveiled Might, command only. It's got plot as a keyword and gives you a buff of +2/+3, and that's about it. So yeah, just another plot card to give your leader or some other unit on the board some stats.
Yep. It just feels like a limited card, at least right now.
I agree.
It just costs too much for the stats, so
yep.
Not much else to say.
Yep, I think you're probably right there with that. I think it's cool. I think Gar Saxon is obviously the intended recipient based on the art. I don't know a lot of the Clone Wars arc stuff. I'm just guessing here. But he looks like an evil Mandalorian, and Gar Saxon is kind of that. So, I suppose you could benefit from that. But either way, probably just stats. Just a limited card.
God, this feels like my day job. I'll take this one. Budget scheming. This is a 2-cost event that's just command. I'm also taking this because it's a law, and apparently I'm just getting all the laws.
Apparently, laying down the law, yeah.
It's also a common, and it simply says give an experience token to each of up to 3 official units. So this is just for your go wide official plays. Again, the spy tokens are also officials, so it's kind of helpful there. Typically in constructed, cards like this still don't see a ton of play.
Yeah.
Just because you're paying 2 and you're not likely to get your stats in return unless you get all 3 triggers, right? And you would compare this to something like Metal Ceremony, which costed 0, and you'd be like, oh yeah, this feels kind of bad. So in limited, I could see it, sneaking in though.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think the thing to keep in mind with this, and the reason why cards like Attack Pattern Delta work and cards like this do not, even though the buff from something like Attack Pattern Delta is temporary, is because when you give any sort of numbers buff to a unit, it needs to be significant enough that you will be confident that the unit will live to use it. An experience token is not enough of a buff to a unit that you as a player can be confident that you will be able to use it on your next action. So it's that fact that, like you said, is kind of limited the usage of these cards in decks over the over the course of the game so far. That says you are going positive on stats versus cost, so that makes me a little bit more tempted to do it. And we've got so many experience token buffs from cards in this set that I wonder if there's going to be something out there that takes advantage of that. There's been enough that it's kind of making me wonder. My other question is this, because I actually don't know. Is there someone who's an expert in all the book lore and comic lore and all that kind of stuff that can tell me if there was ever an occasion when Palpatine did actually speak to Krennic, Tarkin, and Thrawn all at the same time? I know they've all spoken to him individually, but was there ever a moment where they all spoke to him at the same time? I don't recall one, but maybe there is one. That's about the budget, I guess. The Death Star is too expensive.
But budget scheming, like I'm just imagining the 3 of them giving him like an Excel spreadsheet update.
Yeah, Thrawn's like, "Do you really need all that deep substrate calcite?" Krennic's like, "Hey." He's like pointing. He's like, "Look at my PowerPoint I've got up on the screen just off of the card art. I told you." And Tarkin's like, why doesn't this guy die already so I can take over the Death Star?" That's my headcanon for that image. I want the playmat though. I want a budget scheming playmat. That is great playmat material right there. All right, moving on to another law. Hey, I get a law. Look at this. Charged with corruption. 3 for a command event. You may disclose command. If you do, a friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit. So it's interesting because it's the least conditional capture card we've seen. There is Take Captive, but that's arena locked. This costs the same, but and you can capture across arenas. I've always thought capture was kind of an underrated mechanic. That said, to command, I'm really curious once we actually start playing games with these decks, how often you're going to be in a situation where you want to use a card with disclose, but you don't have the right aspect icons. I wonder if that's going to be like a significant issue, I think the only way to find out is to just build decks and play, right? But if it does turn out that that's, pretty easy, then I think this is, the least conditional capture card we've ever seen. And it could be very good because of that.
Yeah, I think it will also add an interesting element to the deck building portion of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the card, especially in limited, just because it's an uncommon that is pretty non-conditional. It's also both heroism and villainy applicable because it's just command.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. I like it.
Yeah. Me too. Here you go.
In fact, I might give it some thunderous applause. Hey,
fair enough.
This card that we're going to look at is with thunderous applause. This is a 3-cost event. It's just command. It is, however, a plan, not a law. It says give a unit +2/+2 for this phase, but you may disclose command. And if you do, give another unit +2/+2 for this phase. So if you do the disclose, you're paying essentially 3 for a temporary, 4 in stats. Now, it does say give another unit. I would personally prefer if this just said give a unit again, so you could either go tall or split it. But,
I agree, yeah.
Makes it a little bit more conditional this way.
I'm with you where I wish it wasn't so conditional, because I feel like that's the type of thing where I would be like, let's just put the decision on the player. If they want to
Yeah.
put all their eggs in one basket, let them, you know. I think that's fine. I do feel like this is a little bit over restrictive for my taste. But then again, if you're going wide, it could be useful.
Yeah, I was just about to say, could be fine as like a one of finisher in your limited lists, right? You just get the +4/+4 swing for lethal.
I mean, the thing is in double green, Attack Pattern Delta is a great card if you've got multiple units out there. It's good enough that I will often play it in Wat Tambor if I only have 2 units out, just because the +3 and the +2 is good enough. So this being similar in that instead of +3/+2, you'd get +2/+2 and +2/+2, but you don't have to be double command. I think this could be pretty good because, again, what I said earlier, you want to give your unit a big enough buff that your opponent can't mess with it, you know? And this is potentially a big enough buff that it changes, it makes your opponent have to change their planning on the fly, and that anytime you can do that, you open up lots of opportunity for your opponent to make mistakes. And in my experience, that happens a lot when you start to mess with their math that they had coming into the turn. So I think this card might be decent outside of limited. I might give it a try. We'll see. If I do like Wat Tambor yellow and go away from double green, you know, I think it's good. I've been talking about Wat Tambor a lot this episode, but he's underrated. What can I say? All right, so let's check out some aggression cards. We got a couple of those.
Yeah, we have Cyril Karn.
Oh, wait, it's my turn,
2-cost
isn't it?
ground unit. It was going to be your turn,
okay.
but
Go ahead.
I'm jumping now.
Do it.
Cyril Karn, 2-cost ground unit. It is aggression and villainy. Has just the official trait to go with a 2/3 stat line, and on attack you may disclose aggression, villainy. If you do, choose a unit, deal 2 damage to that unit unless its controller discards a card from their hand. Now, this is a rare. I like this card within the context of the set. Official is obviously a relevant keyword. The on attack, as long as you can do the disclose, I think is going to be good. You know, one way or the other, unless they have an empty board. I guess maybe in that regard not, but I do immediately think of like Padme, because they could just say like, okay, I'll take the discard a card and now I'll ping your unit back.
Right. Yeah, it is more dangerous than it was before. That said, I think it's a good ability, and I think 2 for 2/3 is still a decent stat line, even though a lot of things have moved into the 2 for a 2/4 realm. I think in aggression, I kind of like it, you know? I like that if you're going to be playing aggressive, you're probably going to be happy with either outcome, you know? So
I hope.
Yeah. I think the tricky thing is going to be having the icons in your hand to do it, because if you're playing aggressive, then again, stuff that does damage to your opponent is control just as much as it is aggression. Check out Kit Fisto. All right, moving on.
Yes!
See, now technically it's my turn, but I can't take this away
you can
from
go.
you.
You can go.
You sure? Okay, you did the last chopper one way back when. In fact, you got to reveal the set 1 chopper way back when, didn't you? Yeah, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah, you did. You did.
If not, I should have.
I think you did. Yeah, because it was you got to reveal chopper. I did Power of the Dark Side, and what was the third one?
Well, the other one was I think its own episode, which was Super Laser
Tech. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
DJ Death Star.
Right. All right. Well, this chopper is 2-cost war hero. Aggression.
Should be more criminal.
That's what everyone's saying. I can't disagree. Aggression, heroism, 4/1 stat line, rebel droid, Spectre. Ooh, Spectre support. When this unit deals combat damage to a base, each player discards a card from their hand. So sure, you want to go aggressive new Padme leader? Here's your card. This is interesting. It's an interesting one because I love the ability to. I do think that in a lot of aggressive lists, it will be worth it to do the 4 damage if you need to discard a card, especially when your opponent's discarding it. I won't feel that bad about that if I were the one attacking with Chopper. He's very vulnerable, though. 1 HP, I mean, that's so easily pinged by so many leaders. Like Cad Bane just shuts it down. I think this is, in theory, a good card, but I think it will be a better card after rotation.
I also think it'll be a better sideboard card because depending on the deck you're playing against, right? bringing this in, like if you lose game one and you're playing against a non-ping leader, and because you lost, you're starting with the initiative, dropping this with initiative and then just staring at your opponent has to feel so menacing, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
I will also say the reason I'm most excited about this card is somebody who plays Kanan Hera for Twin Suns. This is a kill on sight for Twin Suns because it doesn't matter who it hits, everyone's discarding a card.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you play the new Kane leader with blue, you can, or with red, you can just give it a shield. Then it gets more annoying. So it could be fun, especially in Twin Suns. Is this our first legendary that we've seen this set?
I think it's the first one that we have talked about on our reveals here. Yeah,
it might be. Yeah. All right. Well, it's another uncommon, not another legendary, but go ahead.
All right, we have Cadal Conics, 3-cost ground unit. It is aggression and heroism as a 3/2 stat line with resistance as the trait. When played, you may defeat all non-unique upgrades on a unit, and also has plot. And this is, I think, pretty solid for a potential sideboard card, especially because of the plot. So you don't have to commit to playing it right away, being able to, maybe put this in the resource, kind of use it when you need it, and then also shutting down something that has a ton of experience tokens, or 2 experience tokens and a shield, or whatever the case may be, right? There is a lot of non-unique things that get played on Kylo, even if you think about it, right? The Sith holocrons, for example. So there are some uses for this. Is it going to be a main deck card? Probably not, but will it sneak into a couple of decks in the sideboard? I think it will.
It takes out a General's Blade potentially. I don't love it, I guess. I'll have to do a survey of what our upgrade removal options are post rotation. Maybe it'll be good then, but right now, if you're just looking for an upgrade removal sideboard card, just play Fangfighter, or if you want to do it in red, play Power Failure, because that just gets rid of all upgrades, So I think it might be okay later, but now I don't know how often you'll include it. It is nice to get the 3/2 body on the ground with it, I suppose, but yeah, I'm not super high on this one. Furtive Handmaiden is our first cunning card of the day that we'll talk about, besides the Padme leader. This is a special card from the Padme leader Spotlight deck. 1-cost, cunning, heroism, 2/2 stat line, Naboo only. For the traits, on attack, you may discard a card from your hand if you do draw a card. So, I mean, just perfectly constructed to work with the Padme leader. You get to do some hand filtering, but then you also get to activate the leader ability. Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say other than if you have, again, future effects that care about you discarding things on your end, then obviously this would synergize with that very nicely as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just solid.
Well, I like that it's a May as well. So that is a situation where you could put it in like an aggressive deck, just because it is a 2/2 for 1, which is just a good stat for cost kind of thing. And then use it if your hand is kind of clunky, So I like it for that too. I really love hand fixing cards like this and like the old R2 card, but I think this one even is a little bit better. So this one could make it into decks beyond just Padme, I think.
So we also have Bail Organa. This is another card that I'm a fan of. This is a 2-cost ground unit, heroism and cunning. As a 2/4 stat line, also has Republic and Official. On attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, create a spy token. So again, you may, again, more discard stuff. So again, kind of looking forward to seeing where that goes, but just a solid body. 2 for a 2/4 has always been good. Official seems to be super relevant. And like you said, right, if you've got clunky stuff, maybe you discard it, create that spy token. All of these discard enablers, again, depending on how you build your deck, I keep coming back to, they're easy ways to get villainy cards in the discard pile if you want to pair it with blue for Anakin.
Yeah.
Like, I know that it's probably recency bias, but that's such an important part of the current metagame, and these all make it so easy.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those cards that's going to be good in more than just the leader that it's obviously good in, in the set. So I'm excited to see how people are going to put it together. But I think you hit the nail on the head there. With the Anakin leader specifically from set 5, it could do some real cool work. All right. moving on to Bravo Squadron Fighter. 2 for a Cunning, Heroism, Naboo Vehicle Fighter, 2/3 stat line with Saboteur. So it is just a straight up. There was that one Heroism only ground unit that was a 2 for a 2/3 with Saboteur. Well, here is that thing in the air. But I think notably the fighter tag makes it work well in decks like Luke 4 if you want to run a Cunning version of that. So it's got the tags that I think give it some interesting interactions. So this is one that we might see in a couple Premier lists. Maybe Wedge. Yeah.
Yeah. I, again, will put my tinfoil hat on and say Naboo is there. And in the future could be relevant for that as well.
Definitely seems suspicious that all these things are getting the Naboo tag. Tell us about, hey, we were just talking about Anakin. Here's a new version.
Yeah. Anakin Skywalker, secret husband, which, by the way, sounds like a dating sim that you play on Steam or something.
I was going to say that was also the band name I had for my punk band in high school.
So Anakin Skywalker, 3-cost ground unit, Heroism and Cunning, 3/4 stat line, has Force, Jedi, and Republic traits, has the hidden keyword, as well as while you control Padme Amidala as a leader or unit, this unit gains Raid 2. So in the Padme specific deck, this card is outstanding. 3 for a 3/4 hidden is fine enough, but when it has Raid 2 and it can swing for 5, wow, okay.
Interesting that it's got the hidden keyword, since that was a set 5 specific kind of like set trait, right? A set mechanic. So we do see just a little bit of set specific mechanics leaking into to other sets, which is kind of funny because things like piloting, they've said or a smuggle aren't going to come back like right away. But I think it's totally appropriate for this card. I think it's obviously great as a spotlight card for the Padme deck, and again, like, I think it's just good in general. Like, I am kind of excited a little bit about running it in something like a Kit Fisto Yellow, right, with the Jedi tag. I think having, maybe Qui-Gon, honestly, too, since it's got Force and it's got hidden, guaranteeing the attack to get the Force and turn on abilities like that. I think it's just a solid card in general. Yeah, it's kind of like I could see this card replacing like Ezra Bridger in some cards. In some decks that still run that, if they need to get the Force and stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah, just because the hidden could be strong enough.
People might think I'm crazy for saying that, but it's definitely going to happen post-rotation. It might happen pre. Let's talk about Hunter. Extraordinary Tracker. 6 for a Cunning, Heroism ground unit, 7/6 stat line, Fringe, and Clone are the traits. So Nala Se fans out there, rejoice. Got Saboteur, and then on attack, if the defender is exhausted, it gets -4/-0 for this attack. So this is potentially a very scary card in terms of its ability to punish your opponent for attacking first. You notice that it is 6, so while ECL still exists, you could potentially find a way to pair that with it. But I think just in general, it's a decent uncommon,
Yeah, like in limited, this is kind of a nightmare because it just takes all the value trades at once. And because it has Saboteur, you can't even save your unit with shields. It just doesn't care.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's cool. It can take out leaders. Could be a good card.
I have a sneaking suspicion this card will not be very good, though.
Okay.
Sneaking suspicion. This is a 2-cost upgrade. It's just Cunning. It has just the plot keyword and provides +1/+1 and has the innate trait. So you pay 2, you get +1/+1, and it has plot, and that's it.
Hey, I'll have you know that the Chancellor Palpatine leader can play this for free when he flips. Huge.
I don't care.
Huge. Yeah, it's just one of those cards. I mean, every card game has some cards in each set that are just very basic versions of what the set does. You always have to have a few things in there for newer players, and then you always have to have a few things in there as like stopgap cards for limited, right? Where you want to have cards that are just not great, but in a limited setting, it's sealed. You're like, all right, well, I can put this card in, and it does something at least. And every sealed deck needs a little bit of that. So I think it serves a purpose, but we will definitely not see it in Premier play.
Yeah, and to that end, just real quick, for limited specifically, the last thing that you want is to have like all of the stuff that cares about plot in a set, and then not have enough plot cards for potential triggers, right? So if there are more leaders that get revealed that say like when you play a card with plot, do X, Y, or Z, for example, you need a critical mass like in your common slots to make sure that you have enough cards to do that in the limited environment.
Yeah,
and I would
true.
not be surprised if that was the case.
That's true. That's very true. All right. Another law. We got a lot of laws going on. Bog down in procedure. 3 cost cunning event. Exhaust a unit. You may disclose cunning. If you do, exhaust another unit. So that is pretty strong in a world where the card cunning itself is going away next spring. This is
and
a way.
outmaneuver.
Yeah, and outmaneuver as well. This is a way that for 3 resources and just having another card in hand, you can exhaust 2 units. I think this could. I've never been a big fan of just exhaust stuff in general, but I do think this is one of the stronger forms of an exhaust event that we've seen in a while.
And paired with Padme, for example, this becomes, exhaust 2 and ping something.
Right.
And then that's a lot more attractive as well. I like it in limited. I could see a world post rotation where it still sees some play in constructed as well, because again, if you don't have cunning and you don't have outmaneuver, being able to exhaust 2 units is pretty clutch. I also kind of like that you can go like 1-in-1 in different arenas, unlike outmaneuver. So there is some flexibility there. I think this is the last law that we're going to preview on today's episode, which is sad because what I'm hoping for at some point in the future is a Jude Law card, because I like the character Jod from Skeleton Crew.
Hey, we'll get it at some point. I mean, we have to, right? They gotta put Skeleton Crew stuff in the game at some point. That show was great.
Yeah.
All right, political bully.
Yeah, political bully. This is a 3 cost ground unit. It is just villainy. You pay 3 and you get a 2/3 Republic official, but it also says when played, if you control another official, you may deal 2 damage to a ground unit. And this is a common. So for a common, this is, in my opinion, very strong for limited. Yes, it's limited to just ground units, but the sheer fact that you just have to have an official and there's a bunch of them here and you can play a body and deal 2 damage to likely their turn 1 play, that feels pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think it's missing 1 attack. It's not 3 for a 3/3, it's 3 for a 2/3. So that kind of makes me less of a fan of it. But the when played is good and seems very achievable. So it's like it's almost like a more easy to use Jedi Knight. If you remember the aggression card that does 2 damage to a ground unit if you have the initiative. So this is like a better version of that ability, since having an official out is probably going to be a little bit easier to have consistently. That said, I think the 2 attack only hurts it a little bit, but it's got a fantastic piece of art, so I'll give it extra points. I like this card. That's another great playmat.
I love it for limited.
Yeah. Well, there you go. When has become now, the line from Rogue One. Pay 1. It's a trick. Villainy only, cost 1. Play a card with plot from your resources. That's the one I was talking about earlier, where I think it's unfortunate that villainy only gets this card, but then again, I suppose you'd have to aspect lock it to one of the 4 colors otherwise, so you got to do it somewhere. But and Palpatine is obviously the big plot leader that we've seen so far, so I understand it, but I think it's great, right? It essentially lets you smuggle out something in your resources that has plot by only paying 1 more. That could be pretty good. You think about that Cad Bane card, bringing that out a little bit early. I think there's going to be a lot of uses for this one.
So what I thought of immediately when I saw this is, whatever leader you're playing with, that's fine. The set 1 Jabba the Hutt loves this.
Ooh.
So Jabba the Hutt, if you don't remember, you pay 4, it's a 2/8, but it 1 reduces the cost of all the tricks you play by 1, which means this becomes free, and you get to search the top 8 cards of your deck when he's played to find a trick. So in scenarios where, as a toolbox, maybe even after you have deployed your leader and you need access to other plot cards or whatever, being able to play Jabba to like find this and then do it essentially for free. It's just costing you the card, but you also got Jabba out of it. Feels pretty good to me. So
Yeah.
I could see a world where in certain late game or kind of combo or control-y decks, that's something that we see pop up.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be in Premier decks for sure. Curious to see how it's going to be used. Let's move on to another droid.
Yeah, this is, if I had a droid name, it'd probably be this. This is B2 EMO, or I always say B2 emo.
I think everybody's going to say B2 emo.
Yeah, I'm being too emo here. So this is a 1-cost ground unit. It's just heroism. Has a 0/4 stat line. It is fringe and droid, but it has restore 1, and on attack you may disclose heroism. If you do, give a unit sentinel for this phase. So it obviously doesn't deal damage on its own, but it can do the restore 1 and potentially give something else, or even this unit sentinel if you just need a speed bump.
Yeah.
To kind of stall out for stuff, which is kind of neat.
It's great Ray support, maybe. Right up there with the Moisture Farmer, is a little bit less restore, but the Sentinel's nice. We'll have to see what else comes out along with it. I don't think it's spectacular on its own, but I don't think it's bad either, And I think in limited it could be decent. All right, moving on to Marva Andor. Heroism only, costs 3. We've been sleeping is your tag, by the way. Which I need to do more of after not getting a ton of sleep last night. So I hear you, Marva. Oh, wait, she wants people to wake up. I want to do the opposite. I want to sleep. So sorry, I don't hear you, Marva. 3 for a 3/4. She's a rebel, which is a good trait to have in the game. When defeated, give an experience token to each friendly rebel unit. So she's like a medal ceremony on a unit almost, but a little bit less conditional in that it's only a when defeated instead of doing it on a bunch of units that have attacked. So you can use her, attack into something, get the when defeated, buff the rest of your board, and then go into the rest of your attack actions. So I think this is kind of a pretty strong, aggressive rebel heroism card. I think this. Do you think this would maybe see play in Sabine? It's not fast, but it's not bad.
So,
maybe Cunning Sabine.
I was just about to say Cunning Sabine, at least the version I played, would have loved this.
That's what I was thinking,
can't wait to give it another try. Because as long as you've got other units, right, what you're forcing your opponent to do is worry about how she could mess up the math. Now, I will say this. I have been, and pretty much always will be when it comes to the rebel-heavy versions of Sabine, I'm a General Dodonna truther. So I think that the +1 stats is always relevant for just messing with people's math. And the fact that this is another way to give you that. And it's, again, each friendly rebel unit, so you can stack this on your Sabine, right? If you're trying to protect your leader from takedowns or whatever, then you can set things up with this. But also, if this is on the board and it is something your opponent wants to deal with, but you have other units, well, now you're kind of creating a difficult decision for them. Do they want to get rid of this? Do they want to get rid of the other stuff and leave this? Like, yes, it's only a 3/4, but the longer they leave it out, the more value she gets. So I don't know. I would have loved this in Sabine, and I will probably test it out quite a bit.
I think it looks like a great card. I don't think it's going to see a lot of use in limited play because I don't think there's a ton of rebels, but I think it's still, or at least we haven't seen a ton of rebels yet anyway. We'll have to see. But I think it's a great card in Premier for certain decks. Leia as well, if you want to go back and play some set 1 Leia. But let's move on to our final card of the spoilers here. It is Moral Authority. Tell us about your Moral Authority.
Yeah. So this is interesting because it's kind of very similar to Legal Authority, but also not. So Moral Authority, this is a 3-cost upgrade that is just heroism, and it must be attached to a friendly, unique unit. However, when played, attached unit captures an enemy non-leader unit with less remaining HP than it. But this also provides +2/+0. So this boosts attack, not the health, which is, of course, different from what Legal Authority did. So this is, it's interesting because it's similar but it's also more restrictive and costs more. But
Yeah.
it's also just heroism and not locked to command. So there's a lot of, I don't know, stuff for me to process. I don't know if I like this yet or not.
I will tell you, I would love to put this right now today in my Kit Fisto blue list, because there's so many turns where I play a lightsaber on him after he flips anyway to buff him and then, like, you know, mess with my opponent's board. So and since he flips on 5, you're basically, and he has 6 HP, you're basically just going to be able to, you know, yoink whatever their biggest unit on the board is at that point in the game, and give him +2 attack. So you know, you generally always have another unit out, so that turns Kit Fisto into a 4/6 on flip on 5, and you take one of their units off the board immediately. I think this card is fantastic, at least in Kit Fisto Control and Kit Fisto Blue. But I could see it being really good on a lot of those 5 flip leaders just in general, right? I think it's excellent removal if you're playing a mid-range to control-y heroism deck like Luke 1. Luke 1 loves this card. It's great. But I think new Obi-Wan, set 5 Obi-Wan, because that flips on 5 if I remember right. Any leader that flips on 5 or has a larger HP pool and flips on 6, I think is going to be really good with it.
Yeah, I think that Kit Fisto, as you pointed out, really likes it just because he also has like the innate lower attack. Right. And this helps offset that. I also think about like Ray's in a similar boat, low like innate attack, but could potentially benefit from this. Maybe even so timing's weird though, right? Like if you play this first before you attack, then she doesn't get the experience token on herself. I don't know. I like this when it's played on leaders. It's so weird because this feels like a plot card that's not plot, because you want it in your hand, but you basically really want to play this on your flip turn.
For sure, yeah. And the question is well, so the thing you're looking at is cards like Jedi Lightsaber are going to go away with rotation. I think this is a great replacement to that. And, you know, again, I think it's strong. If it buffs your leader, it removes a big threat from the board, in theory. I really like this card. I don't get so excited about upgrades too often, and I think Legal Authority was good, but it was a little bit too hard to make work. I think this card is very easy to make work, and it's very easy to make good. So I think this is going to be one of the stronger rares in the set in certain decks.
Yeah, for me, I really liked that the Legal Authority buffed the health, which then helped the thing do the thing, right?
That's
so like
nice,
with this,
but most leaders don't need that, you know? Like,
right.
Dude, like look at the Padme leader. She's a 3/8. Like
that's what I keep coming back to, right? Like this is just a card that I want to play on my leader and almost on nothing else. And at least with Legal Authority, sometimes I would play that on something else.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be really good as a card you just always see played on leaders. That's going to be my guess.
The Mandalorian leader would really like this.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi from set 5, Kit Fisto, stuff like Qui-Gon flips on 6, so it's a little bit slow. Cal Kestis, honestly, making Cal a 5/4, and again, kind of ramping up the aggression because you can just take whatever their big threat is, because 4 health is still okay, although that's a little bit more of an iffy one. Yeah. But there are certainly some very good options for that card, so I think it'll be good. It's exciting. But that's going to do it for our spoilers. And so we had a lot to go through. It was fun to go through and talk about it all. There's so much to look forward to with set 6. I'm pretty excited to get deck building and start playing. How about you?
Yeah, I know I am.
Yeah.
Padme looks really interesting. There's a bunch of like really neat late game combos I kind of want to play around with. Mm-hmm. And the more I think about Moral Authority, I actually don't hate it on, like, maybe I want to try running it in an aggro Sabine list where it's really just like, I remove a unit that you would have used to help stabilize and I swing for more.
That's
like
what
it's a tempo play.
Or take out a Sentinel,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's awesome when you can put cards that are removal in aggro and not have it feel like you're spending the resources only on removal. The +2 attack, I think, really, really helps it out. So, Yeah, I think it's a great card. I think it's going to be really good. And anyone who says otherwise is just wrong. Mark my words.
Yeah, you have the
You heard it
moral
here first.
authority over
I have
them.
the moral authority. That's right. Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for the episode. And I want to say too, I'm taking a little bit of a break from Ice Cave Radio. Not too long, about a month. Charmer's going to be holding it down with some guests, but I have been on the content grind kind of nonstop for the last like 4 years at this point, and I haven't really taken a vacation. So I'm not going to completely fade into the background. I'll still be hanging out in the Discord and all that, but I'll be taking a break from content for about a month, a little bit longer maybe, just to sort of take a breath, go play some games, work on some other projects, you know. But I'll be back. Don't worry. It's not a big bad thing. I'm not going through a crisis. I'm just taking a vacation. That's it. So I wanted to mention that too.
I'm going through a crisis because I miss you already.
Oh, well, we can still I'll be on the Discord. We can still play some games and things.
No, we're gonna play some games.
Absolutely.
For sure,
yeah.
I have that GT and a PQ that I want to prep for. So
well, yeah, it's not like I'm not taking a break from Star Wars Unlimited. I'm still going to be playing the game like crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be keeping up. But enjoy. Good luck with all the shows for the next few weeks or whatever. Enjoy, and looking forward to coming back already. So yeah, thanks for holding things down while I duck out for a bit.
Well, for not just the viewers this time, but also for you on your vacation.
Oh.
May the force be with you.